No dog sold or raised for illegal purposes. This is a historical and entertainment-based channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Episode 50, that 50 piece. Is Gaines Motorhead the best of Turtle Buster? The resurgence of the Red Boy Mayfield cross. Is the dog of the year now just straight cap? Let us analyze the evidence on this episode of Bulldog Court. Bulldog community, please rise. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game.
Court is now in session.
Yeah. This is your boy, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. Like I said every time, you could have been in anywhere else in the Bulldog streets, but you decided to come kick it with your boy. And I'm so happy that you did. You underdig. Oh man, I'm so happy, man. We up episode 50, the big 50. We did that. Oh man, I like to thank everybody who came out for episode 49. Kicked it with your boy while we went through the proceedings that we had that evening. And then we tiptoed over and slid over onto the Bulldog Court live after show with my Cap brothers, King T, the young legend, Pressure Killer Combine, and the honorable one, J-Bo from Bulldogging with Bo came out, man, and we had a good time, man. We did our 1-2 over there. And, you know, I like to thank everybody who been rocking with me all these episodes. You know, when I went live on number 9 with Nonstop and J-Bo, and, you know, just starting the whole live platform toward the end of the year last year, and then coming into the new year, you know, doing it this way in a new format, was doing the regular pre-recorded Bulldog Court and then turning over and doing the live after show, man. It's been not the prettiest thing all the time because of what I do, you know, away from everything for a living, but it's been well worth it, man. I think we've had some great episodes, and we had some legendary episodes, some memorable episodes, and I really appreciate everybody for checking me out, man. I don't take it for granted. But also too, I want to thank Bulldogging with Bo for really being a springboard for me even doing what I was able to do with this show, and them supporting me, you know, throughout the whole time of me trying to stumble and get my act together or whatever I can to do what I wanted to do with this show, and their constant support. So salute to them, applause to them and those brothers for their continuous support. But I'm not going to prolong the time. We're about to get into this first case. Is Gaines Motorhead the best of the Turtle Buster line? Now we're going to look at this. You know, this has been mentioned before. This has been talked about. A couple of different people have mentioned Gaines Motorhead, meaning, you know, when we're looking at, of course, we're looking at the J-Bo line, how well it clicked with the J-Bo dogs. I've heard Mau talk about these animals on many different occasions, on many different interviews, about as far as him integrating the Gaines Motorhead into the Miles Davis Champion Stein crosses that he has, you know, with the Jeep coming through Mason's Champion Smiling with the Mayfield's N-word type stuff, and also in crossing that into the Gaines Motorhead or Ron's Motorhead blood. So is it the best, or is there another or one or two more? We know that Southern Triple J is a savant when it comes to the Turtle Buster bloodline. He could tell you a great many things about that line. There are some other people that are moving around up north in the Ohio area even down south, far down as Alabama, all kind of places that are very familiar with that, and they may name some other stuff. They may name frog, Gaines frog. They may name some other tremendous crosses or animals that within that family of dogs that they think are the absolute best of the best when it comes to the turtle busting line. And we know that the turtle busting line originated from Kenny Gaines, the late Kenny Gaines, and the turtle buster dog, champion turtle buster, which is like a Niblet, Kingfish, and Wise Maximilian cross, or Ross Red Devil. Ross Red Devil produced Wise's champion Maximilian. So I just did a dog of note on Ross's grand champion Red Devil. If you haven't checked that out, check that out. Shameless plug. You understand me. As we look at these animals and we begin to evaluate these animals, the winners, and we look at a few things. We're looking at not only the winners, but we're looking at the producers and those producers of producers. Those things that we evaluate when we're looking at this overall bloodline. But I would be remiss if I did not mention, of course I mentioned earlier, somebody like Southern Triple J, who is somewhat of a savant when it comes to the Turtle Buster bloodline. We have to look at and evaluate ATK's or Southern Triple J's Buster and look at how he's bred off of Skeletor, which is another dog that I've heard mentioned in the Turtle Buster family as a producer, or her name appears in a lot of good dogs, and that is meets Skeletor. But more so than that is Gaines Popeye. Gaines Popeye pops up in a lot of producing or winning Turtle Buster dogs of the past. Somehow his name is in fact in the pedigree. Some people will look at the Red Dog strain of Turtle Buster. Some people will even go and look at and consider not just Plowboy's champion Willie, but more so grand champion Smoking Joe strands. With the Jeep Red Boy, you might consider that more of a cross though than more of the heavier Turtle Buster that we've mentioned before. But like I say, I'm just proposing these names and these pedigrees and lines of strands of the Turtle Buster line just to propose to the Bulldog community. You may know one even better than the ones that I just named, and this is what the community is all about. For you to decide which way the tide may roll on a particular strain or discussion. You may know much better, know much more information. So this is just something I'm proposing. We see Motorhead on a lot of the good dogs. A lot of people stand behind Gaines Motorhead or Ron's Motorhead and his producing power. Some people may have caught on late and then went back and grabbed up a few of the Motorhead dogs later on. I've heard that before. I've heard people continuing to cross those dogs into Jeep Red Boy Rascal or Jeep Rascal crosses. That seems to be something that has worked repeatedly over and over again. We understand also too that I have already done a case, with a lot of the Midwest sauce, and one of those Midwest sauces was the Tramp to the Turtle Buster Paladin, or Grand Champion Timex, or Bahama Mama, or Gaines Mama to Ramrod's champion Tramp, and that produced the champion Sinbad dog and many other good dogs out of that. They also did it with Gaines Mama bred to Marlowe's champion Cobra, that also too produced. So this is just something I'm proposing to the community. I look forward to seeing your comments. I look forward to seeing your dialogue, your commentary, or what you have to say pertaining to the Ron's Motorhead. Is it the best of the Turtle Buster? Is it the absolute best? We want you to decide. So for the case of Is Ron's Motorhead the best of the Turtle Buster line? This case is now dismissed. We'll get back to the show after these important messages.
Check out one of the best dog talk shows out here, Bulldoggin' with Bo, on Dogman TV, Thursdays and Sundays 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Shout out to his co-host, Nonstop.
Yeah. And for my second case, the resurgence of the red boy, Mayfield crossed. Let me get into this. I'm just looking around at the landscape of the Bulldog world, the Bulldog community. Looking at a few names being called out, a few dogs being bred, a few things being highlighted. But I digress. Instead, I'm not trying to make nursery rhymes, but I'm just saying. I'm looking on pages online. I seen people making red boy Mayfield crosses or alligator crosses, you know. I use Mayfield to be a broader brush because everything that is Mayfield is not alligator and vice versa. You know, the Mayfield Sunshine, much of what was made famous through Triple M and Mau Mau and different people like that was mostly that Mayfield Sunshine dog. You know, all of it is Mayfield's N-word. I just don't want to say that, but that's basically what it is, a Mayfield N-word dogs being bred into red boy. Now we know about LT Tree. You know, we have talked about him and his lineage, champion in NASCAR. You know, I just recently seen a little short that TG did with a double bred NASCAR male. I believe his name is Earnhardt. Very, very high intense, you know, energetic animal on the video, but looks like a complete Cottingham dog. You know, the red with the red nose, looks like well built, got the rangy legs on them. But I'm noticing those dogs being bred a little bit more and being talked about a little bit more. They're appearing a little bit more in recent times. Also two people just doing their own versions of a straight up red boy or Cottingham or, Hunter Red Deacon Mayfield cross. Saw that recently on Pet Online. Somebody did a breeding, very nice breeding, I might add, with some red boy Mayfield type stuff, you know, alligator, Mayfield Sunshine, you know, type of Mayfield's N-word, basically, type bred stuff. So that made me wonder and contemplate about simply, if you're in the game long enough or in this game long enough, you will realize that the Bulldog world is much like the music industry, you know?
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
It goes in a cycle, or like the fashion world. You know, one time, you know, butterfly collars and bell bottoms was in style. They go out of style. You know, 20 years later, you know, they'll come back in. They got a new version, the skinny leg with the bell bottom at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're not doing butterfly collar flower shirts, but we're going to do the silk. You know, back in the late 90s, you know, they had the silk butterfly collar, you know, or the nylon butterfly collar. You know, those things that, you know, your granddaddy or somebody might have wore in the late 60s or something like that, and it'll come around again. This is much the same as the Bulldog world. These dogs will have a resurgence from time to time through a couple of good ones that may come out of nowhere or somewhat of nowhere. Nothing comes out of nowhere. And that's a misnomer too. You know, it's, you know, somebody might be working in the background. Nobody's paying attention to what they're doing, but then it will resurface. It will come show his head, and vice versa. Certain stuff that people are running their mouth about or talking about this and that and how good it is, those animals and their worth at the moment, at the current time, have left the building. And a lot of times they have long left the building, but the remnants of what they once were is the conversation bringer. It's not the result bringer or the result demonstrator, but it's just the conversation bringer.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
And this is what we have to understand and sift through. All of the hype, the cap, all of these things, and look at animals and evaluate animals for what they are, especially individuals, and then too as a family. Like I said, the Sook Biscuit dog with the alligator Chinaman cross, cross with the Red Boy has been used before. This is not an uncommon cross. It's a cross that is not in the normal zeitgeist of most people. When we talking about bloodlines, it's not. When you talk about the names that are most, readily known, Jeep, Mayday, Red Boy, Yellow, etc., Rascal. These are dogs that are named on a regular basis within the Bulldog world as far as bloodlines of prominence. We know that of those lines, some of those lines and strands have long left the building. Some are still in prominent form. Some have long left the building. People still talking about them, but they really not worth talking about anymore. Not at the present time. And then again, you have some crosses like what I just mentioned with the Mayfield Red Boy, the Sook's Biscuit, the Haystack Dog. These are dogs that are being on the back burner on a TG yard, but some people, that's their main dish. That is their main ingredient. It's just whatever floats your boat. Triple M lived and died by Jeep Mayfield or Red Boy Mayfield with the triple out rock dog. That was some Red Boy Metland's outlaw stuff. Much of the same recipe, different strand, much of the same steel recipe. So I want people, especially, the people that might hear this video in the future, any greenhorns, newbies, neos, whatever you want to call them. When you hear that, don't get caught up in the name, the legacy, all this, the lure, the aura, all of this hype. Don't get caught up in that, because those are sometimes a gimmick, a lure to lure you to a sale, and sometimes they are warranted. They have a lure for a reason. You see what I'm saying? Not many people talk about Zebo anymore, but Zebo is like the Mike Tyson of pit bulls. His lure, his aura has lived on long after he is gone. The aura of him. Queen of Hearts, Tornado. Their aura and what they accomplish lives on in mythology long after they're gone. Now, what their current ancestors or progeny is doing now, that is the tail or the horse of another color. And you cannot get caught up in the aura of the past and trying to apply that into the present. It just don't work like that. You're going to be more disappointed than not. And then too, there are animals with crosses like this that have been consistent over time. I repeat, been consistent over time. They are just not the most popular of the crosses. They are not the ones that roll off your tongue the quickest. Jeep Rascal, Jeep Red Boy Rascal, Mayday, Red Boy Jocko, Gaston, Ratliff. You see what I'm saying? These are easy ones to remember because they are in the zeitgeist. They are commonly known within the bloodline and within the Bulldog world. So I just wanted to leave you with this. I encourage you to study and do your research on some of these old crosses that are showing their head again. But in many cases, they never left the room. You just didn't notice they was in there. They never left. Tom Garner speaks on it. Talked about he didn't even believe in that Chinaman alligator cross. That was something that they was doing. Okay, I give you the dog. You guys, y'all take care of that. Y'all do that. That's something that I'm not really necessarily interested in as far as what I'm working on at Bulldog Hill. And lo and behold, he look around 20 years later, they still in the same position they were once they began to do that cross. So he had to come on in and just, even TG had to realize, hey, maybe I was wrong. Let me get some of that stuff back and put into the fold and have that, because it has shown itself to be what it's supposed to be as far as consistency is concerned. And that is the tail of the tape when it comes to a family of animals. It is consistency within time. What you are producing and performing and the rate in which you produce and perform over time. These are markers that any newbie, veteran, mid-range, midway dog men should be looking at any rate, at any skill, at any job or any activity that you would like your animal to be in. These are the tails of the tape in many cases. And sometimes, honestly, and I know maybe people might not agree with this, sometimes it's not always tied into the more popular dog, man. Sometimes it's the dude that just been sticking with the family. He's not famous like that, but man, he can run off a resume like few others can, but he's just not famous. And he don't run a famous cross to attract all that attention. So this is just what I'm proposing to the Bulldog community. I look forward to your comments. And for the case of the resurgence of the Red Boy Mayfield cross, this case is now dismissed. Oh yeah, for my third and final case. Is the dog of the year now just straight cap? Let us just look into this. I have been looking at this for a while now, and I'm really not talking about the old SDJ days of the days of past, the stoic version. I'm not talking about the AGDT, the American Game Dog Times dog of the year, and Fat Bills or the Dixieline Connections evaluation of process in which they go about finding out or figuring out who they will name as dog of the year, nor the late Jack Kelly as far as the SDJ is concerned, nor Work Kennels or whomever took over the SDJ in their evaluation or favoritism, nevertheless. But I am looking at in more modern times, and like I said, I don't know what evaluation process or what criteria. I don't know. I just know, and I don't know what the years are. I'm just looking at what's being posted on Pets Online, and I know that's not much of a, that don't mean very much, but the DOY used to be something very sacred and very, people came at you hard if you false claimed a lot of things, but especially like dog of the year stuff. Like nobody would ever usually try to come up against that. Now they may have their gripes about the dog that was nominated, but once he was nominated, he was him or she was she. you know, and they might feel as though there was other candidates that were up that could have been a better representation because of resume. That never changed. But when we start comparing resumes, the resumes start looking like, you know what I mean? You start looking at KD and Steph and LeBron and James Harden. You know, the resumes are, or if you pick any one of these, I ain't mad at you. You see what I'm saying? If you pick Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for your goal, I ain't mad at you. You pick LeBron, I ain't mad. Mike, MJ, I ain't mad at you. All outstanding resumes. Nobody is slouch. There's nobody sitting up here that shouldn't be in this conversation that is in this conversation. But oh man, it seemed like in recent years, when I've looked around the landscape of the Bulldog world, and I do mean the world, and I'm really, you know, Xing out the United States. In most of these cases, the United States can't come to play. They don't have a ball to play with.
Come on, man.
But a lot of these countries overseas and further south, way deep south, you know, Brazil and, you know, South America, wherever, Central, Mexico, you know, Central America, I mean, a lot of these places, Mexico, you know, Russia, Ukraine, all these places, Spain. I'm looking around and I want to play a game with the Bulldog community. Everybody that's under my voice, we're going to play us a game. And we're going to go from, it's 2025, we're going to go to 2015. And I want you or all of us to participate, and we're going to just report like we are the SDJ of old. We're going to report, but we're going to report all the different DOIs that we see in this past decade. Now, how many DOI Dog of the Years do you need to solidify the Dog of the Year? If we got, there's in the NBA, it's only one MVP. You got a defense and offense, you know, MVP in football, but in the NBA, it's only one MVP. You know what I mean? So I want everybody we're going to just play this game and we're going to just see how many DOYs do we, and especially if we can find out what part of the world they're in, how many DOYs do you need? How many MVPs do you need? The MVP don't mean much if it's an MVP every month. If there's a DOY every month, the DOY don't really mean that much. If you got 5 DOYs in the same, in the within 1,000-mile radius of each other, I'm saying, well, let's just give it to Jokic, you know, saying Giannis, LeBron, let's just give out 5 MVPs this year. You know, forget it. Just give everybody one.
Come on, man.
Yeah, pass them out like, you know, Jello pudding pop or something. You know, but I just thinking it's becoming a little ridiculous, a little mundane. It's become a complete and utter joke in many cases, in many circles around the world, where there just seems like, you know, it's ruck 'em up. It's gone buck wild. People are just, you know, I feel like today I think I might got a Dog of the Year. Come on out here, Cujo, with your German Shepherd looking self. You know what? I'm gonna base you up and take a picture of you. You Dog of the Year for 2025. I ain't asking nobody nothing. I don't know what the criteria is, but I feel like for me, for the powers invested in me, that you Dog of the Year. You German Shepherd looking joker. So this just a game I want to play. I just want us to report. Put it in the comment section. Every Dog of the Year you see around the world that you know about around the world from 2015 to 2025. And let's just see how many, and put the year that they saying, cause we don't know, this year that they are saying that this dog was Dog of the Year. You're going to see it's going to be like 5 or 6 of them for 2019. It's going to be about 4 or 5 of them 2018. It's going to be 2020 got at least 5. You know what I'm saying? And we want to see what these dogs at and how close are they to each other. And can anybody just name their dog that? Is it really just gone like that? It just self-proclaimed Dog of the Year? Me and my team,
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
me and the circuit I'm on, I don't
Come on, man.
know what that's all about. But this is just something I'm proposing to the community, the Bulldog community, to look at. Just a little game we gonna play just amongst us, because we do not know these times and dates are accurate, nor do we know that any of this is for real or not, because it's pairs online, so all it could be fake. Anybody can name it. And me, all us can go on there and name us. We got, 25, 40, 50, whoever all listening to me, dog of the years for 2025. And the year ain't even over with yet. We ain't even halfway through that yet. But this is just what I'm saying. I look forward to your comments. I look forward to the names that you called, the years, and how many dog of the years. And we're just going to compare notes. We're just going to look at how many of these dogs are dog of the year in the same year and in the same area, and they just calling them out. I don't know. Somebody help me out. But in the case of, is the dog of the year just straight cap? This case is now dismissed. Oh yeah. And now it's time for my closing monologue. Like I say every time, make your next move your best move, but move strategic, like a chess move. Say, man, Schoolboy Garcia, Richard Schoolboy Garcia has a new book out on breeding. Y'all need to go over there on Messenger and get with Schoolboy and find out what the mathematics is and get that book, because some of y'all need some help, including me. I can learn a thing or two. This is your boy, Get a Hope James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm out.
Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and tell a dogman or woman about the Sporting Dog Archive.